Hi, this is Bill Varney from FishTheSurf.com and your saltwater guide with your Thursday, April 10th surf fishing report. So first of all, the biggest news up and down the coast without question is that we're finding sand crabs now all the way from the Mexican border all the way to Santa Barbara. And it looks like they're obviously growing quickly. Not a lot of eggs yet, but we're going to see eggs in these sand crabs in the next 2 or 3 weeks, which is really going to turn on surf fishing. Really can't imagine it's going to get much better than it is, but it's going to bring out some of those big Corbina for sure to eat those sand crabs. So let's start up in Santa Barbara, where we get help with our reports from the tackle shop Hook, Line, and Sinker. Just recently moved their shop to 2259 Las Positas Road, right at Las Positas and Modoc there in Santa Barbara. Great place to stop by and get advice about surf fishing. So Santa Barbara this week is coming off some winds, a little bit of turnover earlier in the week, but wow, has the fishing improved up there. There has been big perch everywhere from, I would say, Halama all the way down to Ventura, really along most of the coast, but some particularly big ones in that area. One angler on a Lucky Craft caught a 17.5-inch barred perch up there. That's getting somewhere near the record level, so that's some incredible fishing. The other thing is the halibut fishing up there is really turned on. There's been quite a few halibut just in the last week that are between 22 and 28 inches caught up there. Some of the better spots up there have been Ledbetter Beach, Graveyards, which is down by East Beach, El Capitan State Beach, all the way up to Refugio. So really along the whole stretch from downtown Santa Barbara all the way up to the Hollister Ranch and Gaviota there has had some good halibut fishing. And of course, that's a result of these grunion. Although they didn't have a big grunion run in that area, the run that they have was a bit smaller. Those grunion are staging offshore. They're getting closer to shore every day, and that's bringing those halibut into Santa Barbara. I really think that maybe not this weekend's run, but the next weekend's run, we're going to see some big runs of grunion up in the Santa Barbara area, and there'll be some fantastic striper fishing, sea bass, white sea bass fishing, and also some halibut fishing coming up. So Santa Barbara is really improving, and those anglers up there have been catching halibut on the Lucky Craft bait, the Battlestar bait, like this bait, for example, grubs, white in particular, flukes, and swim baits. Those have all been working well up there. So we'll keep our eye on that bite up in Santa Barbara. Going down the beach just a little bit, down to La Conchita, which is roughly halfway between Santa Barbara and Ventura. La Conchita continues to be really good. I can't tell you how many times I fished it in the past and it was slow. Been very, very good over the last month and a half or 2 months. This week, lots of sand crabs on the beach, some big beds of sand crabs there, and as a result, excellent perch fishing up to 16 inches, a lot of perch on that beach. And then the big news this week off that beach was a 20+ inch Corbina was caught on a sand crab along La Conchita Beach there. So that area continues to improve. And then as we make our way down to Ventura, of course, as the conditions improved, the fishing improved there. Perch fishing has been very, very good along that area, all along from C Street all the way down to the Channel Islands Harbor, and really everywhere in between has been good on lugworms, bloodworms, and then yellowfin croaker have been biting down there on the Castmaster, 1/2 ounce, 3/4 ounce Castmaster. A lot of folks have been getting into those yellowfin croaker. Haven't seen any real big ones, some 18, 19 inches or so, but those will get bigger as time goes on for sure. And then the other news down there was yet another 20+ inch Corbina caught on a root beer grub down in along the avenues there where the jetties are in Ventura. So Ventura continues to be good. I know that area will improve as the water warms up a little bit. Really looks like we're getting to the end of any of these northwest Aleutian Island, Alaska storms. Those should be pretty much out of the way now. We might have 1 or 2 brushes with those. Looks like maybe early next week we might have one, but that's pretty much out of the way. And believe it or not, we've got south swells coming up beginning really today into next week and on through the summer. Really, it's going to push that warm, clear water into the California Bight. Surf fishing up there is going to even get better. So as we make our way down to Malibu, not a lot of word out of Malibu this last week. Once again, not a lot of reports out of there. So if you fish Malibu, please start sending me some reports. I'd appreciate that. But I really want to remind everybody that there's been some misinformation on the internet and elsewhere about the Malibu Pier being closed. The Malibu Pier is open to fishing. It's open to fishing, so don't worry about that. If you want to fish Malibu, you can fish the Malibu Pier and then north of the pier. I know some of the areas between Malibu Pier and Santa Monica Pier have been closed as a result of not only some of that runoff, but there's been a sewage spill in 2 different areas down in the Santa Monica area, so keep your eyes on that. But the Malibu Pier is open, and then the South Bay continues to be good. Wasn't quite as red hot this week as it was in previous weeks, but we had a really good grunion run up in Venice. After that run was over, some excellent fishing for big yellowfin croaker. Went up to 4 pounds on both lugworms and bloodworms in that area. When we make our way down to Hermosa, Manhattan, Rat Beach, Torrance, that zone, Redondo, it's been good perch fishing down there for some of those 10 to 14 inch models. That's been good. And then just to the south of the Hermosa Pier 2 days ago, a 26 inch halibut on a Lucky Craft caught down in that area. So that continues to be good, and there was good grunion runs in that area too. So really look for that Doc Weiler all the way down to Palos Verdes in the next week or two to turn on. There's a lot of bait in the water there. There's a considerable amount of sardine inside of King Harbor, which is quite unusual. So there's a lot of bait in that area. There's been a lot of grunion there. I really think we're going to see some excellent fishing on striper, halibut, and possibly even some sea bass when you get down toward the rocks in Palos Verdes. So keep your eye on that over the next week or so. Orange County, perch and yellowfin croaker fishing continues to be good all along the Orange County Bight, really from Seal Beach all the way south through Newport Beach, all the way down to the Wedge, and then when you're looking down in San Clemente, there's been some really good yellowfin croaker fishing. Once again, a lot of that's been on this 1/2 ounce, 3/4 ounce Castmaster, and then baits like those lugworms and those bloodworms have been working really good down for that. And then at both the Bolsa Chica Inlet and the Talbert Santa Ana River Inlet, right in that zone, it's been some good halibut fishing down there. Once again on the Battlestar, Lucky Craft, and on flukes down in there, drop shotting flukes. There's been legal halibut caught in those areas. Those areas, remember, are traditionally good areas for the grunion to come in, because where the river mouth comes out, and there's really 3 of those areas, right? There's the Bolsa Chica Inlet, the Talbert Inlet, and the Santa Ana River. All 3 of those areas pump out soft sand, and commonly when we have grunion runs, grunion come into those areas and bury themselves in their soft sand. So keep your eye on Orange County. That continues to get good. Should be really, really good this upcoming week. And then when we make our way down to San Diego without question was a hot spot this week. No surprise as that water continues to warm up down south and make its way up into the California Bight. Along the Silver Strand, honey badger bait. So those are these fantastic grubs that are out. Glenn produces these honey badger baits. They work incredibly in the surf. This grub works better than any grub I've ever seen over the years used in the surf for catching a wide variety of fish. This time it caught a beautiful 24-inch halibut along that Silver Strand area. So that area has been good. That Silver Strand Coronado has been good, both for perch and halibut. Of course, there's always been good clamming down there when it's clamming season. That's been good. But when we make our way up north from there to the Carlsbad area, a lot of that Carlsbad area is rocky along there. If you went from Ponto north to about halfway up to the city of Carlsbad, it's all rocks. But that area has remained good in that area simply because there's a lot of yellowfin croaker there. And if you stand on those beach rocks and you fish straight out from there, once again using that fan casting motion, 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock, with a 3/4 ounce Castmaster or crocodile, you're gonna have a really good shot at some of those bigger yellowfin croaker. And that's also a traditional place in the spring and the summer for big spotfin to come in there too. So look for that Carlsbad area, that Carlsbad State Beach area between Ponto and all the way to the other end of the north end of the camp there. Those are some really good spots to fish. And then the biggest news was out of North San Diego County this week, where one angler, using information that he found on the show about going to the grunion runs and fishing the edges, had an unbelievable night of fishing. He started off with a really big, almost 4 pound, most likely, didn't weigh it, but looks like about a 4 pound yellowfin croaker. That was followed by a handful of big barred perch, 14, 15 inches. and then he finished off the night with a 40-inch white sea bass. That's what's going down in San Diego right now. So surf fishing's been extremely good, continues to be good. One thing we want to remember is now is the time to get out there. We're going to have a Grenion run this weekend. We'll talk about that just in a second. If you're interested in going to our Bolsa Chica clinic, that's on July 26th, surf fishing clinic, please sign up. There's only about 9 spots left on that, almost full. When it comes to our newsletter, please go to fishthesurf.com, sign up for our newsletter on the front page. Free, comes out once a month, gives you all the details of conditions, fish report, everything that's going on, gives you an idea to what to look forward to this month. Lastly, the Grenion run is this weekend. The Grenion run will actually be Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. It starts after 10 p.m. at night, so that's the time to go down there. Once again, usually after the run on the second day turns out to be some of the best times. Don't disturb those first fish coming in. They're the scouts, so let them come in, give them about 20 minutes to go back out, tell all the fish that there's a party going on shore so they can come back in. So that's your fish report for this week. And until next week when I'm going to see you right here, I'll see you on the beach.